Hi guys, and welcome back to the South Korean ladder. We have a very interesting game here in between the two pros on the 4 spawning location map once again. We have spawning here in the upper left in the brown. It is a barcode player, but as you can see from the APM, very high and very high skilled opponent here for a Bishop, who is actually spawning here in the lower right. We did saw a previous replay here from Bishop. I don't think it's July Zerg, and yeah, apparently you guys might know who this is. Sadly, it could be Bishop, the player, but yeah, it should be of course a very interesting game. After a Terran versus Zerg, we do have a Terran versus Protoss on the South Korean ladder in July, I believe. This game has been played. I'm going to try to find some games out of August. I'm sure I'm going to be finding some very interesting matches. Yeah, but until then, let's just watch this nice Terran versus Protoss here onto a 4 spawning location map. The build order is once again here on the upper left part. Sorry, I mean the production tab. As the Terran starts up standardly here with the supply depot next to his command center, he might expect a early attack by the Protoss with some zealots. Of course, this gap right here could help him out a lot to micro his marines out of danger. Maybe he knows the opponent, maybe he knows that a early rush could happen here from the Protoss, and he's already very fast here with his gateway, and also very fast scouting here the map. You can see from the timer it's quite a short replay here, around 17-18 minutes. Yeah, let's just see how it's going to develop here. A good scouting here for the Protoss early on, sadly for him into the wrong direction, but very soon he's going to find out where exactly his opponent is located. We also have gas here for him. Pretty sure he's going to transition to a cybernetics core, as yeah, those dragoons early on quite deadly versus the Terran, especially versus those marines. Even against the tanks early on, a very good decision for the Protoss to have versus the Terran. So yeah, let's just see how the scouting is going to continue. Finally, also the Terran scouts out the map at around the 1 minute and 50 second mark. So yeah, pretty standard stuff. No gas yet here for the Terran. This might change very soon as the probe is coming forward. He actually went for an expansion, so the gas could be stolen by the probe, and the Terran actually being faster here than his opponent. Perhaps there also was a lack of minerals here for the Protoss. Very good micro here by the Terran trying to block the probe. And yeah, the Protoss sees now everything he needs to know. He might now try to rush his opponent with some dragoons, as there's a very good expansion here by the Terran. And yeah, let's have a look at the reaction. Actually, it looks like the Protoss is going to play those. Is going to try to play it very safe here with an expansion of his own. So very safe gameplay here by both players. No decision for the Protoss to move out with dragoons. Cybernetics core is done. Upgrade hasn't started yet actually, as he went of course for a nexus here into this location. In the meantime, of course, the Terran is expecting an early attack by the Protoss, so he's immediately reacting with 1 bunker and 2 marines inside that bunker, as he knows that his build order has been scouted by the Protoss. And he might even go into a factory, of course, for some early vultures with some mines. Very good to have early on as a defense versus your opponent. In the meantime, he's also checking out the build order from his opponent, and he sees the expansion, so he knows that it won't be an early attack. He's still scouting, searching perhaps for some proxies or some robotics facility base, maybe a shuttle attack. So the SCV is going to try, of course, to stay as much as he can here, or even close by towards this location from the Protoss. Even perhaps going to try to check out the 12 o'clock position, and yeah, just check out those hidden spots onto the map as the game continues here with the barracks now pretty much slowly but steadily walling here off for the Terran, as we might even see a second factory here for the Terran. So it looks like indeed he's going once again for a mech unit composition. Very soon we're going to be very likely seeing mass vultures with tanks. Your pretty standard build order for any Terran versus the Protoss. Protoss should go into mass gateway units, but we also might have a surprise with some carriers. Carriers also very cool into the late game. We might even see some arbiters. So a lot of options here for the Protoss versus the Terran. In the meantime, a nice hidden starport. So he might try a trick here. He might try to do a vulture drop towards the base from the Protoss. Let's see how that is going to work out. Either that or perhaps early science vessel, but I don't think that that would be the option here for him. So he's very likely going into a nice drop, and early on that drop can be very deadly against the economy from the opponent. Let's just check out what he's building. Actually going for a vulture and a tank. One tank out, of course, in case the Protoss comes forward with an early attack. We see the mines getting researched, vultures are being produced. There's the starport, the observer also being produced here for the Protoss. So very smart gameplay here by him, as he's also taking yet another expansion. So this expansion quite exposed here for him. The Terran could punish this very soon with that drop which I was talking about, and yeah, range is going to be finished. Good map control here for the Protoss as he's out with the Dragoons. Interesting enough, without a observer yet, so he's just pretty much checking out the maps. Perhaps he's doing the trick with the Dragoons just to snipe the mines in case there are any mines, but he doesn't see any mines, so he might think that something fishy could happen here, and actually the Terran decides to just straight move here forward into the middle of the map, producing a dropship indeed for him. So showing his presence into the middle of the map, just keeps on guessing the Protoss what exactly is going to happen, laying those mines, moving forward. But let's not forget that his plan is of course to do a drop towards the mineral line, so he's luring out the Protoss to snipe those mines, and at the same time the vultures will very likely gather around very soon here, and they will be picked up here by the dropship. So yeah, let's see how this is going to work out for the Terran. A very nice mind game here by him. The Protoss gets lured out. The Dragoons are still very close by towards the main. Yeah, in comes the dropship. This expansion very exposed. It's nicely getting blocked by the pylons, but that's pretty much a trap here for the Protoss. So of course the Protoss seems to be knowing the timing for the Terran drops. So the Terran takes his time. Bishop is taking his time actually. Is he going to drop here? And yes, of course, remember, two vultures can one snipe a probe. So yeah, let's have a look at the probe count. 45, sorry, and great mining here for him. Protoss needs to be careful as more and more drones are falling here for the Protoss. Still at 44 workers, so not that really that much damage has been done, sadly, here for him. At the same time, we also have another attack into the upper part, so pretty good defenses here by the Protoss. Nice reaction with those two Dragoons. Very good defensive gameplay here by him, and yeah, those mines will be very likely cleared. So sadly here for the Terran, doing of course a little bit of economic damage, but in the end losing 3 vultures. I believe the dropship has made it out alive here. Should have made it out alive. So let's see what else is happening. Actually he's doing yet another drop, so very nice abusive gameplay here by the Terran. Bishop being pretty much all over the map, just keeps his opponent guessing where exactly the next drop is going to happen. Sniping worker after worker, laying those mines. So yeah, very stressful game here for the Protoss as he has to defend early on, and yeah, very soon we will be closing towards the 10-minute mark. So quite a stressful game here for the Protoss. A nice early game here for the Terran as he's still continuing to abuse the ledges here and just keeps on sniping more and more of those probes. And I believe even a second dropship could have been an option here for him, as those Dragoons did take some damage, so a tank with some vultures would also be very good here for the Terran. So very good early game by him. A nice abusive gameplay here by him, as he might also very likely try to take his other expansion, either that or pretty much go for an all-in, as the Protoss has invested so many minerals into those expansions. So yeah, let's just see what the next steps are going to be, what's going to happen here, as there's so many mines also being laid here by the Terran to have a good map vision of what is going to happen here. And we do have mass Dragoons, so still no zealots for the Protoss. Let's check his main mass gateways for him. Weapons 1 should have started. Perhaps some zealots will be done very soon. Either that or the Protoss is going to try once again to somehow attack the Terran from the back. So we saw this into another replay here onto this channel. Mass Dragoons early on. Just spread those Dragoons and attack from the front and from the back, so in order to snipe the mech units from the opponent. But right now the Protoss pretty much just standing here into his main, waiting for the next move by his opponent, as the Terran looks like he's very likely going to attack this expansion right here with his siege tank. Let's check his upgrades. There we have weapons 1. Plating has started, and weapons 2 here as well. So the tanks with very good upgrades early on, and now the Dragoons have to come in of course for the back. Great scan happening here. observer is in the front, so very good position, but those tanks in the back are still dealing damage. The Terran nicely using those vultures to buy some time for the Terran tanks. Speed of course has not been done here for the Protoss, that's really bad, and the tanks hold their position as a great attack has happened here. Even the SCV is repairing in the end. Lots and lots of casualties here for the Terran and for the Protoss, but yeah, those tanks in the back of course giving great backup fire towards his opponent. And look at that, we even have yet another drop happening here for Bishop towards the main from the Protoss this time, so very nice dropship gameplay here while attacking the expansion. He's also leaving some crucial units here in the back, and this vulture is still moving here forward. So it looks like this expansion is very likely going to get abandoned by the Protoss, or is it? It's actually moving forward with some zealots. Speed zealots finally has been done, weapons on is done, getting some good surrounds, trying to snipe those tanks, but losing some time here. Great pull here with those mines by the Protoss. Protoss doing a good defense. His expansion is still mining, and of course the Terran knows that he has to cancel this expansion as fast as he can, sniping now some probes in order to inflict so much economic damage as he can. At the same time he's also taking here his expansion, so very good game here actually by both players. The Protoss does hold, and with that the Terran on the retreat all of a sudden. His abusive gameplay, yeah, well, he did some economic damage, very good damage, but in the end the Protoss still at 3 bases, still at 59 workers. Same can be said here for the Terran. And yeah, upgrade wise perhaps the Terran has some advantage here versus the opponent, as 2-1 is going to be finished very soon. We now very likely will have Psionic Storm very soon for the Protoss with weapons too, as 2 tanks move here forward. Let's see what they can do against those probes. Even sieging up here, so quite a ballsy move with upgrades, just dealing so much splash damage. All of a sudden the Protoss is dropping to 48 workers, as those tanks with those upgrades dealing so much splash damage here towards the units, towards the economy. A very nice move. Perhaps that would have been even more greater early on. Just siege up those tanks, pretty much sacrificing them, and just cripple the economy here, as the Protoss once again has to rebuild his economy, his probes. So yeah, good abusive gameplay like I told you here from Bishop. Slowly but steadily poking here towards the Protoss, dealing more and more damage. The Protoss on the defense, not really being able to make his macro game, as so many gateways are still online here for him, so his economy is still looking good, but he did lose quite a large number of probes. So what is going to be his response? Very likely a drop with some zealots, with some high templars. He knows he's behind now economic wise, as so many probes have been lost, and quite a great move here by the Terran into this location. Just those 2 siege tanks with upgrades, and now we even have 3-1 upgrades. So the Protoss decides to show his presence here into the middle of the map, not really allowing the Terran to be that much abusive early on. So the Terran perhaps has to find a better position, or either that or play it safe with another expansion that is being built here. So pretty good map control by both players. So many mines are still being laid down, as we do have a small stalemate, but you can see the economic advantage is still real here for the Terran. However, this can change very quickly in case the Protoss does a storm drop towards the expansion. This one not really that well defended, only 2 turrets here. I don't see any tanks, so this could be the next target for the Protoss, as there's a huge movement out now here for the Terran. Even some Goliaths to snipe perhaps any arbiter gameplay or some observer. So the Terran moving here forward with his upgrades. 2-1 should have been done, yes indeed. 3-1 is on the way. We also have good upgrades here on the way for the Protoss. It looks like the Terran doesn't really want to wait, he's just pushing here forward, trying to find a weak spot for the Protoss, and indeed he's going once again for this expansion right here. He needs to be careful. Storms could be very effective here for the Protoss. Just so much splash damage could be dealt here against those Terran units. So yeah, I believe that this is going to be the tactic for the Protoss, to defend with some shuttles, with some drops, with zealots, to try to pull those mines. The Terran very carefully here placing some mines, but those mines could of course work against him in case some zealots will pull them. I believe that's exactly why he added those Goliaths, in order to snipe the incoming shuttles as fast as he can. So yeah, in comes the shuttle, great pull once again. But I believe some storms will happen very soon. There it is, storm could be casted. 2 shuttles are here. Good ramp control here, great storms, not really catching all of those tanks. Now finally great double storm here into the middle of the map. Very good stuff here by the Protoss. Good defense by him. And all of a sudden he's also moving here from another point. So defense actually looks very good. He needs of course more energy towards those high temperatures. But defensive wise, great storms here being casted by the Protoss. Having of course control of the high ground is so crucial, as he's still dealing more and more damage. So just trading mana for those kills, very effective move here by him. And yeah, the Terran still is present here. At the same time we do see another movement out, but he needs to be careful. There are some cannons here now sieging up into a good position, so the Terran pretty much all over the map. Now sadly here for the Protoss, he has no more energy, and this expansion seems to be lost very soon here. Yes, indeed, by the Protoss. So very good move here by Bishop. He's moving forward with his shuttles, but what exactly does he have? I believe some high templars, now some dragoons have been dropped. They will be immediately taken out. Now good storms once again being casted here by the Protoss. But in the end it has to of course to be the GG here. So quite a patient move here by the Terran, with an early abusive gameplay here, with good upgrades for him, giving him the advantage, taking this game quite convincingly, not allowing the Protoss to do his macro game, and a little bit of a too defensive gameplay here if you ask me by the Protoss. Not that much abusement at all, no drops with Zealots or High Templars, no Reaver gameplay by him. He did of course have a great macro game, but the Terran knew that he has to punish this, and in the end the Terran, with his timing push out, with his upgrades, being able of course to overcome the enemy. Now let's just check the stats very quickly, just in case you guys are interested. Quite a good game here by both players, but Bishop smartly denying the macro game by the opponent. If he would have waited longer, perhaps it would have been too late. The Protoss already had a second, actually he had 4 expansions I believe, so yeah, the Terran knew that he has to do something. In the end the drop with the siege tanks, the double siege tanks, crippling the economy more of the Protoss, and that was I believe even the winning move here by the Terran. Just shows how strong the dropship can be early on, with some vultures early on dealing with good damage, just keeps your opponent guessing where exactly the next move can happen. So it just shows once again that the Terran doesn't really have to turtle up into his main with his siege tanks and just wait for those upgrades and just wait around the 20 minutes. You can be abusive, you can do a dropship attack with 4 vultures, and you already saw how 2 tanks in a good spot with good upgrades, how much economic damage they can deal towards the opponent. So if you're Terran, I hope this is quite inspiring for you. I'm going to try to be as much as active as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's Tommy signing out.